Barak Hawa, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Devices Against Us, Part 2. And this was a lesson I tried to do yesterday, but, Satan would not allow this video to go up yesterday because the area I was in, which was actually the area where Elder Apostle Gabar and myself filmed, the video we did together. For some reason, that spot right there was not allowing the stream to go through. It kept buffering. It kept stopping. So I decided to just shut it down and just, wait, for the Spirit to allow me to do it for today. So lo and behold, Barak Bashim Al-Shai, we're here. So let's get into it. What you're looking at is pretty much militarized police, and this is pretty much what martial law is when the military becomes involved in governmental affairs. Pretty much they take over. You see it in different movies, the movie Under Siege and many others where they declare martial law and they come in and pretty much take over. And this is usually done in times of chaos, turmoil, where things get so out of hand that the military has to step in to bring in order, so to speak. There's legislation on it, all types of legislation, so on and so forth. And this is pretty much one of the things they're going to use to help with the implementation of the MOTB, which when Elder Apostle Gabar used to go over that. I mean, we've all spoke on it, but he was the first one to really dive deep, with like the infinite waters into the martial law and the concentration camps and things of that nature. And we would laugh to scorn back in 09, 08, 09, 2010, labeled as fearmongers, because we were teaching about Jacob's trouble, which we were teaching even before the YouTube era, but now all of a sudden that things are even ramping up even more. Now you have individuals jumping in there acting like they've always taught, about Jacob's trouble. But that's neither here nor there, because the Lord knows best at the end of the day. This is another picture of, martial law. And these are actual military troops, set up, And that's pretty much what they plan on doing, because the scriptures speak about the cities being shut down, and it speaks about, uproars of the people, famines, riots, and different things of that nature. And, this whole situation, the way it's been going down, for a long time, but especially within the last 2+ years, they've managed to accomplish a very big stroke in favor of their agenda within the last 2+ years, with the whole shutdown and, the disruption of the goods, supply chain, and the devaluing of the dollar, the instability of the dollar throughout the world, nations getting out of, paying for oil and different other resources in U.S. dollars, which is still the world reserve currency, but it's fast losing its grip. Inflation, hyperinflation, and just in general, all these things are being set up to bring in this final onslaught upon the people of the Most High, the Israelites, which is called Jacob's trouble. Now, I had looked up the word devices yesterday, which we're going to look up, but this right here, I just typed in just so you can get an idea. For those of you that don't know, these are detention centers, and mostly these are Issacharites and Asherites and Zebulonites, coming up from South America, Central America, Mexico, seeking refuge in America. And this is where they put them at, these detention centers. And these detention centers are all throughout America. And this is where they plan on storing people, especially when they start pushing hot and heavy, which they are now, but when they really start pushing the MOTB, which is a charagma, hot and heavy, these are containment centers, pretty much where they're storing mainly Israelites, but also Edomites and other nations that are against the so-called New World Order. You heard Elder Pastor Gabar speak on it many times. The video with Linda Thompson, America Under Siege, I believe it's called. And she went into all of this years ago, back in the 90s, before any of this was really known, to certain individuals. All right, so the word devices or device, the first definition is a thing made or adapted for a particular purpose, especially a piece of mechanical or electronic equipment that's dealing with, mechanical things. But the one we want to deal with is number 2, a plan, method, or trick with a particular aim. And this is what the devil has been doing. He's been very busy in his councils, formulating different ways to trap especially the Israelites, because the scriptures say that they will come against those that fear the Lord. There's going to be a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord in these times. So what I want to do is go into some of the precepts that we were going into yesterday, and our Lord's will, it'll be an edifying lesson. So let's go back to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, and verse 13. It says, "For what man is he that can know the counsel of the Most High, or who can think what the will of the Lord is?" Right? Because in their mind, they have their agenda. But just like it says in the book of Job, matter of fact, let's get it real quick. Job 33 and 15. It says, "In a dream," matter of fact, I started 14. "For the Most High speaketh once, yea, twice, yet man perceiveth it not." Yeah, because no matter how many warnings the Lord gives, the average natural mind does not receive it. It says, "In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men." What are the ears of men? Their mind. Okay, that's what the ears of men are. Their mind, because with your ears on the side of your head, you listen, you hear, and that's how you're able to discern different things. But with the mind, that is the ultimate filter, of understanding. So the Lord opens up the minds of men and sealeth their instructions. Man means he puts a set of rules or instructions in their mind of what they're going to accomplish. The next day they may think of doing A, B, and C, but they end up doing X, Y, Z. Why? Because the Most High put a monkey wrench in their plan, because the plans that they had did not jive with the plans of the Most High. And the counsel of the Lord is what's going to stand in the long run. It says that he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride from man. And that's what it's all about. Because these devils, their pride, is through the roof. So sometimes the Lord throws a little monkey wrench in there to knock them down some. But ultimately the Lord's going to knock that pride all the way down when he destroys their whole agenda. Now, let's go back to Wisdom of Solomon 9. Now let's read verse 14. "For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable, and our devices but uncertain." Right, because every plan that Esau has, or man in general, if it does not jive with the Most High's plans, it's not going to work. So you're doing it in vain. But man, the scriptures say that the Lord made man upright, but he have sought out many inventions. Now let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes 42 and verse 18. Just bear with me 1 second. All right. Verse 18. We're going to read a couple of verses here. Is that 42? Ecclesiastes 42. No, No, it's Wisdom of Solomon. I never hit. 42 and 18. He seeketh out the deep and the heart. This is dealing with the Most High. And considereth their crafty devices. Yeah, because some of these devices that they're putting in place, are very crafty, very cunning. Remember, they have think tanks. It says that their heart is deep, in the book of Psalm 64. So they've sat down. They've had think tanks. They've tried to figure out and exhaust every possible scenario as to how they can accomplish a particular thing, which is the NWO. Then they put it into use, into effect. You have these false flags and different things that happen, and they're doing a practice run on so and such just in case, and then a week later or two, that same scenario happens to happen. Oh wow, are they just that lucky? I mean, are they just that good? Foreseeing these so-called evils, or is it something that they're planning? And that's exactly what it is. It's something that they're planning. It says, for the Lord knoweth all that may be known, and he beholdeth the signs of the world. Why? Because he's the one that's bringing the signs of the world to pass. He declareth the things that are past and for to come, and revealeth the steps of hidden things. And this is a good scripture to go with Isaiah 42 and 9. And I believe the other one is also in Isaiah. I'm not sure if it's the 48th chapter or the 49th chapter. It says, no thought escapeth him. So even those hidden counsels that these devils have that only maybe a handful of people are privy to, the Most High knows about those things, because the eyes of the Lord are everywhere. And the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, which are the angels all over the place that the Most High has, watching and reporting everything. It says, neither any word is hidden from him. So all of these things you see going on with the legislation and these councils, the Heavenly Father knows everything, because he knows what they're planning. It says, he hath garnished the excellent works of his wisdom, and he is from everlasting to everlasting. Unto him may nothing be added, and can be and neither can he be diminished. And he had no need of any counselor. Yeah, because these devils think that they can erase the Most High, but they can't. You can't erase Yahweh. Yahweh made you, fool. Now, let's go from there. Let's deal with an example as we was going into yesterday in the book of Esther. Let's go to the book of Esther, the 8th chapter, because this is something. See, the scriptures are our comforter, right? And the scriptures give you scenarios. They give you laws, statutes, commandments. They give you history. They give you proverbs. Wise counsel. It gives you different things. Then it gives you, like in the book of Proverbs and Ecclesiasticus and Songs of Solomon and so on and so forth, it gives you deeds of the wicked and deeds of the righteous, and how the deeds of the wicked are going to be of no effect, and that's going to lead to their destruction, and the deeds of the righteous are going to lead to everlasting life, and favor with the Heavenly Father. Then there's also things within the scriptures that give us examples of those different scenarios that wisdom paints, that the Lord painted through wisdom in the scriptures, right? So Esther 8 and 1 is, on that day the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman, the Jews' enemy, unto Esther the queen, right? Because there was a plot by Haman the Edomite, the Agagite, that wanted to destroy the Israelites, right? And he had a plan, he had a plot. He was second in command to the Persian ruler Ahasuerus, or Xerxes, right? So he had the power. He had sway. And seeing that Mordecai didn't bow to him, he determined in his mind to destroy all of the Israelites, because he saw that was the only nation that he would have a problem with. So this is a mechanism or something that he was working on, a device that he was working on to put this into motion. And everything was going in his favor. He had everything in place. He got the orders from the king. He set up all these different gallows in these different provinces, getting ready to take all these Israelites out. And the Lord turned around and turned it on his own head. And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her. Right. She told him that he was her uncle. And, he was finally introduced to the king. They was kicking it, whatever they were saying. And remember that prior to this, there was a plot by two of the king's, I don't know if they said chamberlains or two of the king's servants. They were going to assassinate him. And Mordecai told of the plot. See? So the king never forgot that. Now it says, and the king took off his ring, which is authority, which he had taken from Haman, right? Because the second in command, he took that ring from him and gave it unto Mordecai. So that power that Haman, the Edomite, the devil, our enemy, was wielding, was taken from them and given to the Israelites. And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman. Right. So now Mordecai, the one that was in danger of being put up on these gallows, is now given authority by the king and by Esther, his niece, and given power over Haman and his whole household. Whereas a day prior to that, everything was being set up in the favor of Haman against us. It says, and Esther spake yet again before the king and fell down at his feet and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite and his device that he had devised against the Jews. And when you read the history, you know what that was. And if you're not familiar with it, I suggest you go and read the book of Esther. And it'll give you the whole scenario from beginning to end of everything that took place and what happened at the end. So we look up this word device. That's the only way you're going to learn. That's the only way you're going to learn. The word device is machashab, which is thought, device, plan, purpose, invention. Right. And that's what we read for the definition. Right. We read a plan, method, or trick with a particular aim. And this particular aim here was what? To destroy the Israelites. But it turned around and jacked them up. It says chashab. This is the root word. To think, plan, esteem, calculate, invent. All right, so we get the idea. We get the picture. Now let's go from there. Let's move along into a set of other precepts in the book of Psalms 10. Let's go to the 8th verse. Read a couple of verses here. It says, he sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. Who is this? Esau. All right, let's look up this word, lurking places. It says, ma'arab. Ambush, hunters, blind, ambush, looking place, liars in wait. Right, so he sitting in places looking how to ambush the people of the Lord. How do we know that? Because the scriptures say there shall be an insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. So this is what he's looking for. He's looking how to ambush. That's the lurking places, because Jake is not expecting that. Because Jake is under the mindset of everyone else is like the government is there to help. They wouldn't do such things. Anyone that thinks that is a conspiracy theory, a conspiracy nut. It's June. How can the government, that's supposed to be benevolent, they're supposed to be Christians, how can they turn around and do that to their own people? You guys are bugging. You guys have been watching one too many movies. And all of these things are written right in plain English in the scriptures, but it's not made manifest to many, only to the elect. It says, and that's what the scriptures say, the righteous or the prudency of the evil to come and hide themselves, something along those lines. It says, in the secret places doth he murder the innocent. Yeah, so how is it that in the secret places he murders the innocent? Because they have an agenda. You have the Georgia Guidestones, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Right? So that is plans that they have had for a long time. Depopulation or depop. Cull or culling. sustainable development, all these different fancy words that they use that is nothing more than a way to cut down the population of the earth to a more manageable size for them. Because remember, they are the 1%. So the 1% in comparison to the rest of the pie is not much, So they want to chop it down to a manageable size so that they can manage it. And this is why they want everyone C to the H to the I to the P. Because that way they can control, they can track, they can manipulate, they can force any individual into their ways. Because if they don't comply, their chip or the CH to the I to the P, Salakia, hope, sometimes you get excited and you slip up, because certain words we can't say, is pretty much shut off. Therefore, there's no progress. You can't buy anything, you can't sell anything, you can't do anything. Look at the movie The Net with Sandra Bullock. They destroyed her whole life because she was finding out certain things. The movie Enemy of the State with Will Smith. They shut his credit cards down. He couldn't do nothing. He couldn't move. He couldn't operate. He couldn't buy. He couldn't do anything. They took him off the grid. And this is their plans. And there's many other movies like that. And people say, oh, those are movies, man. You guys, listen, man, there's something called predictive programming. And the predictive programming are things that they put out there, they project out there to let people know what they're going to do. Because they're trying to be like the Most High. That's what the Most High is doing. He's letting people know things that are going to happen before they happen, letting them know right in their face. It's being broken down to them, but they don't listen. And then eventually, boom, the Most High brings it in. Because they're trying to be like the Most High. They're trying to replace the Most High. It says his eyes are privately set against the poor. And who are the poor? The Israelites. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. Yeah. Because this is the ambush. A lion doesn't come out and just start running aimlessly when he's hungry to catch prey. He's sitting there, he's crouching, he's hiding, he's moving very stealthily. He's eyeing the prey, he's looking for the weakness, and then when he finds a weakness, he tries to get as close as possible, undetected, before he actually pounces on the prey. And this is what these devils are doing. That's why all this legislation is being passed to iron out all the kinks in the road in order to push forward with their agenda, the NWO. It says he lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. A net is a trap. What is that net? There's these different legislations. And that's why they're pushing hard, on this food shortage, especially dealing with food, because the ultimate motivator is hunger, fear and hunger. You can go without taking a bath for a certain period of time, even though it's nasty. You can go without taking a bath for a while. You can go without, without clothes. You can go without shelter. You can go without a car. You can go without many different things. But one thing you can't go without is food. And that's why they're using food as the ultimate weapon against the people of the world to push their agenda of the MOTB, which is the C to the H to the I to the P, if you could spell. He croucheth and humbleth himself, right? Making it seem like, when they do these different, in the Congress and these different speeches and addresses that they do, they make it seem like they're benevolent, like they're caring, like they really care about the people, but really, technically, they really don't. That's why the scriptures say, never trust thine enemies. His words are smoother than butter, but yet they are drawn swords. You see? Because this devil's, one of his main gifts is deception. And his best way of getting to it is deception by way of words. This is why the serpent, which was an actual man in the garden, he deceived Eve with what? With his words. He manipulated her. He made her second guess what she knew to be right. and then threw some truth in there and some lies, and eventually caught her with his words. It says that the poor may fall by his strong ones. Who are his strong ones? His military. And it's no coincidence that, within, I believe since the 90s, I'm not sure exactly. Maybe a brother could, fact check that real quick if they get a moment to find out when was the police in America militarized. It may have gone way back, but we know that we have recently seen this. You can put it to you like this: you can't tell a difference now between, in certain cases, between the police and the military. All right, because a lot of police look like this. That says right. Did that say military? Did that say MP? Did that say U.S. Army or Marines? No, that says police. That says police. And they're dressed and suited up just like someone in the military would be. So they've been militarized. So those are the strong ones, to enforce the plans of the NWO. You have FEMA troops, and many others. So it says, he hath said in his heart, the Most High hath forgotten, he hideth his face, he will never see it. Because the thing is, even we get mad sometimes because we're like, damn, man, this devil doing all this shit. Why don't the Most High just bring these devils down? Oh, here we go, the water, brother. Brother, I'm a one-eyed body, right on it. The initiative known as the 1033 program was formally implemented when Congress passed a law in the 1990s. And I figured it was the 90s, because that's when you really started to see the police being militarized. Now, when you go up to 2001, when the towers were brought down, you seen the military, but you also seen police in riot gear, in military type gear with military type weapons. So I got to look this up. Let me see if I could, you know what? Just bear with me 1 second. I just want to copy this so I could look a little bit more into this, Lord's will, later. And the water, brother, the water for your diligence. All right, so let's go back. Let's see where we at. And that was the last point. All right, so it says, the Most High hath forgotten, he hideth his face, he will never see it. Right, so even we get mad sometimes because, like, damn, why the Lord ain't dealing with this devil? And even Jake sees it out there, that these devils could do all kind of manner of shit and never have to pay for their crimes. And there's a reason for that, because the Most High is saving them. He's letting everything amass so that when he brings their destruction, they're never coming back up out of that. Now, let's go from there. Let's go to the book of Psalms 37:7, right? And it says, rest in the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So this is our duty. This is our job. Our job is not to go out there to gun ranges, to buy weapons and buy guns. The Lord already got us. The scriptures say, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. When the 10 plagues of Egypt happened, right? Pharaoh and the Egyptians were so tired of Jake because of the plagues that the Most High was putting on them, they hurried Jake out of there, right? And Jake was on the move. They were in the wilderness. They were getting the hell out of there, heading towards the Gulf of Aqaba, which is in the northwest side of the Red Sea, right? Then eventually they say, wait a minute, man, these are our slaves, man. We gotta go get them. So he and his chariots and his army, his officers, captains, leaders, whatever, they were in hot pursuit of Israel. And they had chariots, they had weapons, so they could have easily took our forefathers out back then. But what happened? As they were gaining, the Lord caused the chariot, which is a big, huge chariot, to get between the camp of Israel and the Egyptian army. The chariot then proceeded to turn off all the lights in the back of it and just only keep the lights on in the front in order for Israel to be able to see. So these devils are running blind, chasing us. Then the Red Sea was dried up. Yes, it was dried up, you old Billy Goat. The Red Sea was actually dried up. There was no witchcraft. It was dried up. It was congealed. The ground underneath was dry. Our forefathers went on it on dry ground. And when the Egyptians was on it, the wheels started to break off of the chariots. They got all jacked up, and eventually the Lord caused the waters to flood them out. So it wasn't weapons. They didn't pull out their kneading doughs and start beating the Egyptians to fight against them. It was the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai himself that intervened between the camp of Israel and the army of the Egyptians. So in these times, it's going to be the same thing. That's why it says, rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way. Yeah, because they are prospering. Within the last 2 years plus, these devils that were billionaires became multi-billionaires. And the ones that were trillionaires became even a multi-trillion, even more, they more than doubled their wealth and possibly even tripled their wealth in certain cases. And it seems like their agenda is moving forward perfectly. Like they have no setbacks, no hiccups. But that's all right. Let them do that because the Lord is allowing them to do that. Because the Lord is building them up just like he built up Pharaoh. And just like Pharaoh thought in his mind that he will always have Jake in captivity, that he was going to be the man, that they were going to stay on top, that wasn't the case. Because after that, the Egyptian empire was left without a military, without a leader. So they was in a bad case, and they never rose to the prominence of Egypt when Joseph was there and set up the Pharaoh and set up the different barns with the wheat or the which the scriptures call corn, but it was I forget the other term that it uses, and set up and actually bought all the lands from the Egyptians. We brought this out many times, how the Egyptians ran out of everything. They ran out of money, they ran out of cattle, so they had to eventually sell themselves and their lands over to the Pharaoh in order to be able to eat. So the prominence and the height of the Egyptian empire never rose to that again after the destruction, of the Egyptian army with the pharaohs and all of that. Grain, the water, brother, grain. That's right. It says, fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. And this is the same word. These are wicked devices. And we read that a device is what? It says a plan, method, or trick with a particular aim. And that's what they're doing with these different, legislations that they're passing. And notice, it's not a coincidence that everything is going digital. Money is going digital everywhere, worldwide, because remember, this is a worldwide plan. This is not just a country or a city or a town or a whatever, a continent. The plans of a continent. This is the plans of the entire world. These devils, these international bankers have their tentacles in every country under the heaven, because the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Right? So now let's go from there. Let's go to the book of Psalms, same book of Psalms, the 140th chapter and the 8th verse. Grant not, O Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the desires of the wicked. Further not his wicked device, lest they exalt themselves, Salah. Because, they've been running so hard that they say, you know what? God is on our side. He's with us. Look at all the things that we did to these people. So-called Negroes and the so-called Hispanics and so-called Native American Indians. God hasn't judged us for that. He must be on our side. But that's just the Lord allowing them to think that way because, the Lord is deceiving them. Because the scripture said that he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. So you in trouble, Jack. All right, so now let's go from there. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 12 and 2. It says, a good man obtaineth favor of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, but a man of wicked devices will he condemn. And what is the condemnation? The condemnation is that the prophecies are written in the scriptures. The time frame is written in the scriptures. The Lord is revealing those things unto his servants, the prophets. They're going out there and prophesying, revealing who the man of sin is. Then afterwards, when there's enough revelation, when the Lord says, okay, that's enough revealing, now it's time for the judgment. Because right now, in legal terms, we're in the sentencing stage, where we're telling this devil, for all the crimes you committed, we done presented the crimes through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. We done brought out all the different you could say legislation, or the different laws and sub-laws of the Bible that condemn him. And we're letting him know what the judgment is for that. And then eventually the Lord will bring the judgment upon him. Once the Lord said, that's this is the cutoff date right here, and that's over. Let's go. Now, let's go from there to the book of Isaiah, chapter 32 and 7. Excuse me. The instruments also of the churl are evil. The churl is Esau. All right. The word there is kayalaya. Kayalaya. Scoundrel. Knave. Niggardly. So he's a real niggard. The so-called white man is a real niggard. Let's look up this word scoundrel. Dirty, rotten scoundrel. A dishonest or unscrupulous person. A rogue. See? And that's, man, if this doesn't, this should have the picture of E right here, right next to the word scoundrel. A dishonest or unscrupulous person, a rogue. All right? That's a scoundrel. So the scoundrel, the dishonest, lowlife, wretch, their instruments are evil. Let's look up the word instruments. The word is kalaya, which is the same word. Article, vessel, implement, utensil. Utensil, implement, apparatus, vessel, weapon. Yeah, because those are his weapons. Words, deception, to make the innocent, the Israelites, the poor, fall into his trap, his net, because the net is spread. But remember, the scriptures say that when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. So it says the instruments also of the churl are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with what? With lying words. What is that? His legislation. Let's get a couple of precepts on that. Let's go to the book of Isaiah 10 and Apocalypse, which is apocalypse. Which is, let's go back. Isaiah 10 and 1. Woe unto them. Woe means destruction. Unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. What is a decree? A decree is a law. So destruction unto those that put into law unrighteous laws. And that write grievousness, which they have prescribed, because it was pre-written. They before they do any of these things, they have council, secret meetings on what they're gonna do, but they have to have, justification, and that's what they do. They bring out their justification through their laws. This is why Maya Angelou Bauer, which we say this a lot, Maya Angelou Bauer, which was one of the founders of the Rothschild family, before their name was changed to Rothschild, he said, give me control of a nation's money, and I care not who makes the laws. Because basically, when you break it down, he that controls the money controls the laws. All right? So, woe or destruction unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. And when we go to Apocalypse 13, the beast from the earth, Revelation 13:11, And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And this beast that came up out of the earth is the same beast that had a deadly wound. And that beast that had the deadly wound was the Roman Empire, because the beast in general is the whole empirical power of Esau, beginning with the Greeks and all the way up until the British. And then from the British sprung up the eighth head, which is America, and America is the revival, or that beast whose deadly wound was healed. And they came back with the same image, the same agenda as the ancient Roman Empire, bringing all the different legislation and the different Latin terminologies and the same ideologies from the ancient Roman Empire up into modern day. Right? And it says, and he had two horns like a lamb. The two horns like a lamb, a horn represents power. The reason why there's two is because you have two so-called opposing forces, the Republicans and the Democrats. They seem like they're against each other, but they're really in bed together. And the reason why it says a lamb is because their appearance and their words to the public seem benevolent, seem harmless. But then it says, and he spake as a dragon. The word dragon goes back to the word Draco, which the word Draco, you have something called draconian legislation, which goes back to Draco, which was an Athenian lawgiver that would punish people to the fullest extreme of the law, no matter how severe or how what's the word I'm looking for? Or how petty, no matter how severe or how petty the crime was. And that's what they're doing here. This is why they got all this legislation being pumped out there. So going back, where were we reading that from there? So let's read Isaiah 32:7. Let's move on from there. The instruments also of the churl are evil. He devises wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. Yeah, because what we're saying is right. But they're preparing these destructive ways, even though we're speaking right. Now let's go from there. Let's see. All right, cool. Now we could go from there to the additions to Esther. I wanted to get this real quick. The additions to Esther, chapter 14 and verse 11. It says, O Lord, give not thy scepter, which is power, unto them that be nothing. That's dealing with Esau. And in this case, it was dealing with Haman, which was an Edomite. And we're saying this same prayer against Esau. Because remember, when we read Isaiah the 14th chapter, it says their scepter is broken. The Lord has broken that scepter. And let them not laugh at our fall. Because this is what they're looking for. They would love nothing more than to finally just conquer us, period. They seen that the drugs in the community didn't work. They see that the bad food that they put in the community hasn't worked. They seen that the bad liquor that they put in the communities hasn't worked. They seen that the jabs that they push on Jake hasn't worked. Because remember, like the scriptures say in Egypt, the more they afflicted, the Israelites, the more they multiplied. Because this is of the Lord. Even though, Jake as a whole is wicked, the Lord has a seal upon our people, not to be destroyed because of the oath he made with Abraham, the promise and the oath that he made with Abraham. And you have an election among the nation of Israel that will be delivered and will be protected from all the things that are coming. It says, but turn their device upon themselves. And this is what's happening. The Lord is about to turn the devices of Esau upon himself. That's why it says, when he is about to eat, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him. It says, and make him an example. Because when America, Babylon the Great, is fully destroyed, that's going to be like the same example that happened to Sodom, Gomorrah, and the other three cities, to show the world the reward for being wicked. It says that hath begun this against us. Right. So make them an example. Let this turn upon them that have begun this against us, that have begun this onslaught against us. You know, they have this idea in mind that they're just going to wipe us out. Let that happen to them. And eventually, once this whole system goes down, the first crop of slaves are going to be the international banking families among Esau and the other nations. And after a period of 1,000 years of hardcore slavery for Esau and all the Edomites, men, women, and children, they will be rounded up and burnt up pursuant to Bible prophecy in the book of Obadiah 1:18. And there's another verse up before that said that there shall be none remaining of the house of Esau. So these are things that are prophesied, and they have not happened yet. Because if they would have happened, the world would be at peace. The Israelites would be back in their land. Judah, the tribe of Judah, the so-called Negroes, would have possession of the land of Edom. And that is not happening right now. But it shortly soon come. Now, let's go back to the book of Esther. Let's go to the 9th chapter now. Because this book of Esther is a beautiful example of the wicked plotting against the righteous and the Lord turning the plot of the wicked back upon themselves. It's sweet vengeance, man. Sweet, sweet Donato. All right, it says the Feast of Purim instituted. Now, the word Purim goes back to the word, it's a plural word for the word lots. It goes back to the word Pawar, which is singular for lot, and Pawaryum, which is plural for lots. That's why we keep the Feast of Lots, which is Purim, because the wicked had devices against us to put us on these stocks to kill us, but then the Lord turned it around and they went there instead. So the Lord made the wicked a ransom for the righteous. It says that in the book of Proverbs. If a brother could find that precept, they could post it. So, like, I know you brothers are putting some beautiful precepts up. I just haven't got a chance to really get to them. You know, just Spirit got me locked in on this. The message. And I'm not talking about it's like a jungle sometimes. It make me wonder how the people going. No, let me stop. Esther chapter 9 verse 20. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all. So now, remember, the king gave Mordecai the ring, the power, right, that he stripped from Haman. And then not only did he get the ring and the power, he also got a blessing and more authority from the queen, Esther, right? Now he's going about to use this broken glass everywhere. People pissing on the stairs. You know, they just don't care. Right. So now, right, he's taking that authority, the blessing from the queen, and he's putting that authority into effect by writing his own, pretty much his own legislation, writing his own way with these letters that are going to be sent to these different provinces, which is 127, right? Where all the Israelites are at, to do the same exact thing to all those Edomites in those nations or in those provinces that they thought to do unto the Israelites, because Haman has set up these gallows everywhere. Remember, he wanted to wipe us out completely, but the Lord turned it back upon their own head. So we can use that as an example for today of these devices that Esau has for us today with the NWO. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall raise up a standard against him. So, and Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, both nigh and far. Because remember, it was from Ethiopia from India to Ethiopia, I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, 127 provinces in the first book of Esther. To establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar and the 15th day of the same yearly. And that's why we keep the 14th and the 15th day of the 12th month, as a memorial, the 13th, 14th day of the 12th month, as a memorial of what took place at this time and the great deliverance that the Lord gave us from these Edomites. As the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy. Because right now we're in sorrow, but that sorrow shall be turned into joy. Remember, Yahushua told the disciples that. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find it. I know it's in the book of St. John. Beautiful. Barakateh B'Shem Yahushua. All right. St. John 16:20. Verily, verily, I say unto you that ye shall weep and lament, but the world shall rejoice. And the world is rejoicing, even though people are catching hell. They're not really doing that well, but they're rejoicing in the sense of they're of the world. Therefore, the world heareth them. Right? It says, and ye shall be sorrowful, but your sorrow shall be turned into joy. Because right now, we're under, of course, we're under the mercies of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, but we're under the mercy of this devil. And at any moment, he could set his trap out and start gathering Jake and putting him and locking them up, putting them in these different concentration camps. So we're in sorrow. But there's going to be a point where the Lord is going to turn that sorrow into joy. You see? Think about it. So now let's go back. So it says, Esther 9:22, and from mourning into a good day. So we would change from sorrow to joy and from mourning into a good day. That they should make them days of feasting and joy and of sending portions one to another and gifts to the poor. And the Jews undertook to do as they had begun and as Mordecai had written unto them, because Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews, had devised against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast Pur, or the lot, that is, the lot. So he cast lots upon us. Hey, the scriptures say that too, about the casting of lots. So they had cast lots upon us to consume them and to destroy them. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by legislation, because the king's word was bond. So by letters, that his wicked device, which he devised against the Jews, should return upon his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows. So that device that they had against us turned right back upon their hairy scalp. Wherefore they call these days Purim, after the name of Pur. Therefore, for all the words of this letter and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them. All right, now let's go from there. Let's go to the book of Job. Job chapter 5 and 12. It says, he, the Most High, disappointeth the devices of the crafty. So the Lord is going to disappoint their devices. The crafty being Esau. The underhanded, deep thinking. And the deep thinking that they do is all for total wickedness, not for righteousness. So that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. What is their enterprise? Their so-called New World Order, the NWO. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness. Yeah, because they're thinking that they're moving forward because it's in the power of their hand. They're doing it. But what they don't understand is every time they make a move, the Most High makes a move, which is the Most High making a move anyway. But he's countering that move with another one of his moves. And the counsel of the froward is carried headlong, because they're not going to accomplish that vision. It's going to get but so far. And then it's going to fall. It said they meet with darkness in the daytime, meaning that they're meeting these secret councils. It's daytime. It's not like they're in the night. It's not like they're blind, but they are blind spiritually. It says they meet with darkness in the daytime and grope in the noonday as in the night. Because although they can see, they're not bumping into walls, they're not falling over stuff that's in front of them that they can't see, but they don't understand that they're stumbling at the vision that they're having, because that's going to bring about their demise. So instead of considering, well, I better stop while I'm ahead, no, they're pushing forward. So they're blindly running into their own destruction because of that greed. So now let's go from there. Let's go to Job 21. I had a precept there, but I don't see the verse. Let's see. No. All right, you know what? I guess we could skip that one because I don't see what verse. No, that's not it. That's not it. Let me see something. Nope. There's only one. Okay, so you know what? Let's move on from there because I got other precepts here. Now let's go back to the book of Psalms, the 10th chapter and the first verse. Now check this out. Why standest thou far off, O Lord? Why hidest thou thyself in times of trouble? Yeah, because when these times of trouble come, there's going to come a point where the Lord is going to deliver us. But remember, Yahweh said that the servant is not greater than his master. Whatever he went through, we're going to go through. And remember, he went through a time of turmoil where he was praying to the Father to take the cup from him, where he was put up on the cross, where he said, my Father, why hast thou forsaken me? So he went through a period of he felt the presence of the Lord leaving him, and he thought the Lord, the Most High, forsook him, but he didn't. You know? So when these things happen, it's going to seem for a moment, for a period of time, that the Lord forsook us, because we're going to be knee deep in the shit, you know? But somehow, some way, the Lord is going to come through, man. And when he comes through, woo, look out. Because, man, the deliverance is going to be so glorious, man. You know, as the destruction is going to be glorious, so is the deliverance going to be glorious. We don't know how it's going to go down, but the Lord said that my servant shall eat. And the Lord said he's not unrighteous to forget our deeds in love, that we minister unto the saints. You know? So somehow, some way, the Lord is going to make it happen. It says, the wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. So all these things that they're doing is all being done for their own demise, which they don't even see that. Now let's go to the same book, but let's go to the 7th chapter. I want to show you something here. Let's go to the 14th verse. It says, behold, he travaileth with iniquity. To travail means when a woman is pregnant, she's having all those pains. She wants all she's thinking about is getting rid of that baby, right? So he's travailing with iniquity. Iniquity is in that devil. He is saturated with wickedness, and he cannot sleep. He cannot function. He cannot operate unless that iniquity goes on and he does some type of wicked shit, right? And hath conceived mischief, because that's all that they are about, is mischief, and brought forth falsehood. And this is one of his greatest blessings besides the sword, is deception. And they bring forth falsehood, and this falsehood is brought forth in the manner of his ways, his customs, you know, just him in general, things that he does, this picture that he has for the world, especially this so-called New World Order, because this has been one of the greatest deceptions outside of the Renaissance period, when he made the world believe that he's the Most High, that he's Yahweh Shai, that he's the angels, that he's the Israelites. This is the second greatest deception of the world. You know, actually the third, because the first one was the serpent in the garden, which was an actual man. Then the Renaissance period, and now this. the so-called NWO. And he's pushing that. So he brought forth falsehood. He made a pit and digged it. And that is a pit. A pit is a trap. And he digged it. He's digging it with all this legislation that he's doing. And is falling into the ditch which he made. Why? Because that's going to be his own undoing. The greed that these devils have more than heart can wish. They're on the top. They're at the top of their game. They are so rich that it's impossible for them to even spend all that money. But they're still forging forward. This is how greedy these devils are. But it's this Lord that got a demonic spirit of greed upon them, a demonic spirit of wickedness upon them to keep pushing forward. Although they got everything, they don't need anything. But they want that raw power over the people. Like G. Edward Griffin mentioned. It says, his mischief shall return upon his own head, and his violent dealings shall come down upon his what? His own pate. Now, what is his pate? A pate is the crown of the head. What goes on the crown of the head? A crown. That's where you get rulership from. Power, right? Look up this word pate. The word is quada, which goes back to the root word quadad. It says here head, crown of head, top of head, hairy crown, scalp. So it's the crown or the crown of the head, which is their rulership. So this moving forward of this agenda of the NWO is going to cause them to lose that crown that the Lord gave them, because that's going to be the ultimate thing to bring forth their destruction, their demise. Let's go real quick to the book of Isaiah 14:4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, which is America, Babylon the Great, and say, how have the oppressors ceased? The golden city ceased, right? Because they have oppressed the whole world. And how have they done that? Financially. Because when you look up this word here, the golden city ceased, that means the exactress of gold. When you exact something, you're claiming it back from somebody. Somebody owes you something and you're exacting it back. You bet you're gonna be, even if the person can't pay. So that exactress of gold, this is how they've pretty much managed to oppress the world. And especially with this fiat currency, this fiat money known as the FRN or the dollar bill. They've got people in a quagmire, which a quagmire is just a fancy way of saying quicksand. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked. So Yahweh Bashem Yahushai hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers, their rulership, their power. So in them pushing forward this agenda, it's going to come upon their own pate, the crown of their head, this power structure that was given to them. And they're going to fall headlong, as we read in Job 5. And then in Job 21:21, it says, for what pleasure hath he in his house after him, when the number of his months is cut off in the midst? Because they had, or they have, a certain period of time to rule. And now that period of time is finished. It's over. Job 14:5. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. You know, Daniel 5. Many tekel upharsin. You have been weighed. You have been found wanting. Your days have been numbered. Every kingdom had a number of years that they would rule and then be brought down. The only kingdom that will never be brought down, that will be everlasting forever, ever, is Yahushai's kingdom and the Israelites' kingdom, which Israel is joint heirs with Yahushai. All right. Now let's go from there. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiasticus. I believe, what is that? The 35th chapter and the 17th verse. It says, and that thine handmaid had not eaten at Haman's table. Let me see. Hold up. I didn't go. 35 and 17. That was dealing with Esther herself. 17. The prayer of the humble pierceth the clouds, and till it come nigh, he will not be comforted, right? Because we're asking for answers from the Lord to give us, we're really not even so much as answers, but really deliverance. It says, and will not depart till the Most High shall behold to judge righteously and execute judgment. Because this devil is never going to execute judgment. We're waiting for a devil to execute judgment that has never shown us any form of justice. Ever since they got here in the late 1400s, all the way into modern time, they have showed us no justice. They have not received justice or received recompense or vengeance or payback for what they did to us. So why are we expecting any different now? It says Habakkuk 1:4, therefore the law is slacked. Right. It's slacked when it comes to us. They don't there's no urgency in them, pushing forth just judgment for us and payment to those that do us wrong. It says, and judgment doth never go forth, for the wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. So, seeing that that's the case, we're bringing our case before the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and asking them to plead our cause, because this devil is not pleading our cause. So it says, verse 18, for the Lord will not be slack, neither will the mighty be patient toward them, till he have smitten in sunder the loins of the unmerciful. And the scriptures say that you shall have judgment without mercy, that have showed no mercy. So you in trouble, Jack. You Edomites, you so-called white people, you in trouble. The only hope that you could have is if you're a white-looking person, that you're an Israelite. Because you have a lot of white-looking people out there that are Israelites, because their seed was mingled with the Israelite men, the women's, and repaid, or should I say, the women had laid down with Israelite men, and the seed of the righteous was mingled in among them, and they look like that respective nation, and repaid vengeance to the heathen. That's why it says, wait ye upon me. The vengeance belongs to the Lord. But who is the Lord going to use to bring forth that vengeance? The Israelites. Till he have taken away the multitude of the proud and broken the scepter of the unrighteous. And right now, the scepter is broken. That's why America, Babylon the Great, is losing their grip on the world. And new world orders are forged when the monetary or the money system changes, and something else becomes the power, or somebody else's money becomes the power of the world. And right now, what's being pushed is that digital currency, which will be linked to the MOTB, which is the charagma, and that's going to be the new form of payment. So that's what the New World Order is all about. Till he have rendered to every man according to his deeds, and to the works of men according to their devices. Till he have judged the cause of his people, the Israelites, and made them to rejoice in his mercy. When we read Isaiah the 34th chapter, the Lord is gathering all those nations and all their militaries to bring upon them the destruction for what? For the controversy of Israel, of Zion. And the top of that food chain, or that nation chain, are the Edomites, so-called white people. Because those are the main enemies of us. It says mercy is seasonable in the time of affliction. Right. So when we go through our afflictions, there's going to be a mercy extended to us. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. As clouds of rain in the time of drought. Right. Because when this drought comes, which will be the times of trouble, the Lord is going to smile upon us. He's going to rain upon us with righteousness. He's going to feed us, clothe, whatever it is that the Lord is going to do for us. All right. Now let's go from there to Psalms 21. Let's go to Psalms 21. And 8. Thine hand shall find out all thine enemies. Thy right hand shall find out those that hate thee. Thou shalt make them as a fiery oven in the time of thine anger. Yeah, and that's why the Lord has his prophets out here prophesying against them, revealing them. The Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall swallow them up in his wrath, and the fire shall devour them. Their fruits, because that's what's going to be the ultimate destruction of America, is thermonuclear destruction, and the lasers from the chariots. Their fruit shalt thou destroy from the earth. Right. That means that their philosophies, their whole mechanism, their whole system, that wine that this whole has been pushing out to all these different nations, that have made them drink and follow the ways of America, all that's going to be taken out of the way. And their seed from among the children of men. Yeah, because they're going to be separated, because they are the only nation that will be totally destroyed. They will never rise again. They will never have cities called after themselves. They will never have lands. They will never colonize anyone else. They will never set up an empire ever again. Their memory will be like flushing shit down the toilet. When's the last time you really thought about shit that you flushed down the toilet? You had a second thought about, that shit I flushed down the toilet, man. I shouldn't have done that. For they intended evil against thee, they imagined a mischievous device. Yeah, because they intended evil against us, which really they intended it against the Most High himself, which they are not able to perform, because that was not written in the blueprint of the Most High for them to go that far. Just like it was not written in the blueprint of the Most High for them to deceive the elect. They have no power over the elect of the nation of Israel. They can only go so far, and they know this. Therefore shalt thou make them to turn Therefore shalt thou make them turn their back when thou shalt make ready thine arrows upon thy strings against the face of them. And that's going to be a sweet melody, man, a sweet playing orchestra when that destruction comes. Yahushua comes, the missiles are flying, the lasers are flying, the destruction is going, the earthquakes and all kind of shit going on. That's going to be like a beautiful symphony that the Most High composed together and has been holding back, and now he's allowing that music to be revealed to the world. Just like when somebody puts an instructor or musician, they put together this composition, and they can't wait to master it, to bring it out to the public's eye so that the public can hear it and laud them for that. That's what the Most High is doing right now. Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. It's almost over. Whew. Therefore shalt thou make them turn their back when thou shalt make ready thine arrows upon thy strings against the face of them. Be thou exalted, O Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, in thine own strength, so will we sing and praise thy power. The magnus opus, brother. That's right. The magnus opus and the what's the other ones? The magnus opus and I forgot. There's another term. Work of God. That magnum opus is perfect, but there was another one. I can't think of the name right now. But hey, so be it. All right, now let's go for that. I got a couple more precepts. And then we could end the lesson. This is Psalms 33 and 10. Let's see. 33 and 10. The Lord bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught, and this is what we're waiting for. He maketh the devices of the people of none effect, meaning they're only gonna be as effective as the Lord allows. At a certain point, the Lord is gonna hit the button and He's gonna shut them down. Shut them down. Yeah, crowning achievement is good, but it's another Latin term. Something deus or something like that. But it don't matter, brother. Just if it comes up, it comes up. If not, it was in the moment. It says, the counsel of the Lord standeth forever, the thoughts of his heart to all generations. Toward their force. That's a new one to me, my brother. You got me on that one. That's bad though. It says, blessed is the nation whose power is the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and the people whom he have chosen for his own inheritance. Man, do you understand the grandeur of that, for lack of a better word? Pièce de resistance. Yeah, the brother's getting all in the zone, baby. Le pièce de la résistance. Viva la revolución. So the Lord looketh down from Salaki. Let me calm down a little bit. I'm a little excited. The Lord looketh from heaven. He beholdeth all the sons of men. From the place of his habitation he looketh upon all the inhabitants of the earth. He fashioneth their hearts alike. He considereth all their works. There is no king saved by the multitude of an host. A mighty man is not delivered by much strength. Right? Because it says a horse is a vain thing for safety. Neither shall he deliver any by his great strength. All right. And the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is the one that's going to be, it's going to bring in that deliverance. So let's go from there to Proverbs 19 and 21. And it says, there are many devices in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, that shall stand. And then you already know 2 Corinthians 2, we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. Let's go to 2 Ezra chapter 9, and let's see what verse this is here. And verse 20. So I considered the world, and behold, there was peril because of the devices that will come into it. Right. And that's why this world is in a perilous state that is in, because the ones that are governing it have brought this world to the place where it is right now. Because of their agenda. It says, and I saw and spared it greatly. So why did the Lord spare it? Why is the Lord not allowing them to fully implement their so-called New World Order agenda? It says, and have kept me a grape of the cluster and a plant of a great people. Because he has an election within the elect nation of the nation of Israel. Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain. And let my grape be kept, and my plant, for with great labor have I made it perfect. And that's why the Lord has his teachers out here. It says, for the what? For the perfecting of the saints, the different levels of teachers. All right. Now, this is a short psalm, so let's read the whole Psalms. This is one of my favorite scriptures of all time. Psalms 124 and 1. It says, if it had not been the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai who was on our side, now may Israel say, if it had not been the Lord who was on our side, when men rose up against us, then they had swallowed us up quick, when their wrath was kindled against us. See? That's why the other scripture we read in Psalms 22, blessed is the people whom the power, who the Most High is their power, or something along those lines. It says, then the waters had overwhelmed us, the stream had gone over our soul, which is a representation of what? The military, the police forces, just like during the Roman Empire, the Roman soldiers came in like a flood. And that's going to happen again in these times. Then the proud waters had gone over our souls, because that's Esau. That's Esau and his security force. Whether it's military, whether it's police, whether it's governmental agencies, or whatever the case may be. It says, blessed be the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, who have not given us as a prey to their teeth. See, because remember, they've been plotting and planning and writing legislation and doing this and using certain situations as practice for what's coming. But the Lord is not going to allow the elect to fall into the hands of these devils. Our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. Fowlers are bird catchers. Snare is a trap. So picture this like this. A bird goes into a trap, right? The trap is sprung. Bird is caught in trap. Something happens to where the trap gets knocked over, or the trap, some type of something falls on the trap, makes a hole in the trap big enough for the bird to escape out of it. So bird flies in trap, bird gets caught in trap, bird gets delivered from trap. You see? So that's how it's going to be. So you're going to have, the elect that's going to be in the belly of the beast, in the mouth of the dragon. But then just before the dragon can devour, the Lord is going to rip and yank the elect away from them. And they're going to be left with that defeated desire of wanting to, but not able to, if you know what I mean. It says, the snare is broken and we are escaped. Our help is in the name of the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, who made heaven and earth. That's why you can't play with those names, man. Because that is where our help lies. That is the beginning of our help. Faith and all that is beautiful, but without those names, who are you going to pray to? Who are you going to run to? Who are you going to run to? Inside joke, but it's for real. I feel like I could continue on, but I think this is a good time to, to end it. Jake has a short attention span. So with that, I'm going to, Barakatah Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai for that spirit, and for allowing me and other brothers to teach, and to bring out these words as a comfort to brothers and sisters out there, for these up and coming times, because as the scriptures say, knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of our times and strength of salvation. And these lessons do help comfort our souls, in these uncomfortable times, and they're about to get even worse. So with that, I pray that you brothers and your few sisters that are sincere out there have been edified. Until the next time I say shalom.